Kyle Larson wins his 4th in a row. Hendrick Motorsports wins its 6th in a row. And Ross Chastain is starting to figure this thing out. All that and more coming up next on the recap. So, like I said in the opening, Kyle Larson wins his 4th race in a row, 3rd points-paying race, and on the season, that makes 4 wins overall as far as points go. 10 top 5s, 12 top 10s, 12 stage wins, and a really important 32 playoff points. He could basically miss an entire race, and it wouldn't even matter in the playoffs at this point. So he's having a killer season, and the haters are going to Olympic levels of stretch to find things wrong, saying he really hasn't won 4 in a row because one of them wasn't a points-paying race. Well, let me tell you something. He has won 4 in a row because he's won 4 in a row. And it doesn't matter if it pays points or not because the dude won $1 million on the All-Star race in the most complicated format ever. So just stop with the hate. Just admit that the guy's having a good season and let it go. You were wrong. The guy's having a great season. Also, shout out to Dead Sheds, the SoCal base bum, with the comment, 5 comes before 4. Way to call the race with me, my man. And also Ron Sizzle 402 from Nebraska, talking about the Chevy train keeps rolling and Larson is on a mission. You're absolutely right, my man. I'm going to start working in some comments from the posts when I can. So you guys keep the comments going. I really appreciate them, and I think they're cool. So not only did Larson win, but also by default, Rick Hendrick Motorsports wins. And that's 6 wins for them in a row. And they're having a really, really good season. And this is petty enterprises era type stuff. Well, I remember growing up, people were like, yeah, you'll never see those type of wins again. Well, we've just seen 6 in a row. So that's definitely petty era stuff. So we're living in a new type of era. The old era is over with. Also, a big point here to make is that Chevrolet has fixed everything that they had going on wrong the past few seasons. When they merged RCR and Hendrick Motorsports programs, it has brought all the other Chevrolet teams up. Even in this race, Austin Dillon at one point had turned the fastest lap of the race, or one of the 3rd or 4th fastest laps of the race, and he was in 25th position. The RCR cars had speed today, but they had problems on pit road. Tyler Reddick unexplicably spun himself out coming off of pit road. He was running good before that, though. He never really recovered from it. And also, Austin Dillon, he finished 2nd in a stage. So all the Chevrolet teams are running good, and it's because Chevrolet has merged their engine program. So Chevrolet, Hendrick, and Kyle Larson obviously are really benefiting from all of this. Also, it looks like the Watermelon Man, the man from Alva, Florida, Ross Chastain, is starting to figure this cup racing thing out. Before this season, his best finishes in top equipment, because he raced last year a couple races for Spire and Roush, were a 17th for Roush and a 16th in the Spire stuff. But the last 4 races, Ross Chastain has a 4th, a 7th, and now a 2nd. And the race that he didn't have a good finish was the Charlotte race. And if you remember that, they had the weird belt situation from Hendrick, the engine program that I just shouted out. They had a weird situation there where him and Kurt Busch both had engine failures, essentially. But other than that, Ross Chastain has really started to make a climb in the points. He has climbed all the way up to 20th, and it doesn't sound great, but he is actually only 40 points below the cutoff line if he wanted to point his way in. So he is really within striking distance after what was an abysmal start to his season after Daytona. He had a good finish at Daytona, but after that, his season was not looking so good. But the last 4 races, he has turned it around, and he has gotten himself right back into the mix. All right, so now on to good race. Bad race. People who had a good race this week, obviously Ross Chastain and Kyle Larson and Hendrick, who I just mentioned. But finally, we get to mention Aric Almirola on the good list. My man finishes in P4 after taking the pole. I picked him as a massive underdog pick, so I feel good about that actually panned out and came through. So good for him. Hopefully he helps start turning his season around, and also Stuart Haas's season around as well. Kurt Busch, he finished P8. That was a good finish for him, and he needed that because he had started to slide in points. He is actually out of the playoffs right now. He had a strong start to the season, but he was starting to slump, so a good little rebound race for Kurt Busch here. Ricky Stenhouse with a P6. He's been up and down all season. At one point, he was solidly in the points, but he has raced his way out of that. So hopefully with more finishes like this, he can make it interesting and possibly race his way in. And it's also always good to see JTG Doherty run good. I always pull for the small teams. It's just fun. Everybody likes an underdog. Suarez, Trackhouse Racing, another good finish for those guys, a P7. And during this week, they actually announced that they will have a home base in Nashville. So this is going to be their home race from here on out. So if this is your home race, a nice top 10, good way to start that off. But some guys also had bad races. Unfortunately, Matty D lost a cylinder. He finished P25. And Stuart Haas, their struggles continue. Eric Amarola and Kevin Harvick ran good today. But Cole Custer and Chase Briscoe had brake failures, and they finished P31 and P32. Brake failures obviously were an issue for everyone on the day. Several cars went out because of it. Either they had brake failures themselves or they ran over a piece of debris or a caliper from another person's brake failure. So brakes were kind of a story of this race. And also Chris Buescher, who had raced his way solidly into the points, lost a lot of that cushion that he had today. When he smacked the wall, probably a brake failure as well, or he ran over something. P37 and Ryan Blaney, one of the first cars out of the second to first car out of the race after Quinhoff. Ryan Blaney, P38. All right, that is all I've got for you. Please, if you like the content, subscribe down below. It helps me out a whole lot. And if you have any comments of anything I missed or just anything you want to tell me, leave a comment down below. I love reading them. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.